Hey, you guys, and welcome to another amazing episode of the Mental Game series. I am so excited. I have this amazing guest on because, as you guys know, with Mental Game, we not only talk about all aspects of sports, but we talk about mental health too. And this amazing, I'm gonna call you the GOAT because I've been looking and studying some background. This GOAT is amazing when it comes to the game of basketball and what he's doing. So, Coach Harris, how are you feeling? How are you doing?
I am doing really good and really excited to be here. And thank you for this amazing platform. It's truly a blessing to be able to kind of come on and share with others because I can just remember all the times that somebody shared with me. So I'm excited to be in the position to be able to have opportunity like this. So thank you for what you do.
Awesome, I love it. Y'all see how she come on? She already coming on, just giving game. We need to witness to that she coming on, giving game. I love it. And because of that, we're gonna jump right into it. You saying have an amazing opportunity. 2021, you got that amazing opportunity
Yeah.
to actually go back home. How was it? What was your feelings? What was your thoughts of going back home and being able to coach at Business State back in Mobile?
It was truly a blessing. It was unexpected. But I knew it was God's timing for me. I am very adamant and intentional about moving when God wants me to move. I've had plenty of phone calls and opportunities from places all over the country, honestly, but it has to feel right for me. And it was time for me to transition from Carver to be a head coach on the collegiate level. And it's funny because I had just sent my point guard to Bishop. You know, Coach Eager had came up and did the visit, and I sent her to Bishop, and I sent Maya to Shelton. So I was very familiar with the JUCO route and how it can help the kids kind of elevate and get to the next level, especially with the COVID year and the portal going on. So I was very excited about the opportunity to, be a candidate for the job. So it was just timing, and when I got asked about it, I was extremely interested, and everything fell into place after that.
I understand because you already went in making history, 6-0 coming in on it, doing so much. But we know as always, stepping into a new area, stepping into a new boundary, what sometimes
Right.
happen is adversity. So just kind of some of the things that may have happened to get to that level of being the head coach here.
Well, number one, I mean, coaching high school ball is no easy task. um, it's truly it wasn't like a very very hard challenge for me because I do feel like I'm walking in my purpose and I'm super driven when it comes to coaching. But being on the high school level, you're meeting kids at that age where they are really kind of turning the corner, trying to find themselves and all of that. So it's really an intricate part of their lives. So really, the teaching part was cool. That was easy. But really being able to pour into them on a different level because high school you don't have all the rules, right? So when I was a collegiate assistant coach at Alabama State, being on the Division 1 level, I really understood what it took and what they needed to come from the high school level to get there. So the hard work and the dedication and all that, they didn't quite understand the level and mindset that my vision for the program was on. They thought I was
Mm,
crazy when I first got in
sure,
there. They were like,
she's
she
doing
got
the
us doing
most.
too much. Yeah, we was getting up sometimes doing five o'clock workouts in the morning and preseason and all that. And they didn't understand the preparation and everything. So that was a
Mhm.
huge challenge getting them to buy in to, just having a level of excellence and being great. That was a challenge trying to get them to buy in. But once, the first year or so got underway, they kind of saw the progression and saw each other getting better. They understood the dedication that it was going to take for them to elevate. So, other than that, it was truly a joy.
Love it, love it, love it. And one particular word I heard you say was a passion. You say it was a passion and this is your purpose that you're walking into and you're stepping into. So taking us back to you playing ball? When did you start playing basketball that led to this amazing passion and heart now?
Well, I started playing. Oh, I probably picked up a basketball probably when I was about 4 or 5. I think I was about 5 years old, and really, really fell in love with it as a sport. But honestly, I was an all around athlete. I played volleyball, basketball, and softball here at St. Paul's High School here in Mobile. I just love sports. I always have. And thankfully, I got great genes. I was
Did it
naturally
run in the
good.
family? Okay.
Yeah, I was naturally good at it. My mom ran track, my dad played ball. So
Oh, wow.
all of my uncles were athletes, played football and all of that. So really being an athlete was just something that kind of came naturally for me. But I fell in love with the game of basketball. Um it wasn't so much that I was really, really skillful at it. It was really the setup of the game, it being like a huge team sport for me. I just really, really loved it. And I was a great softball player. I was a Super 12 softball player, top 12 players in the state at the time when we were
Hmm.
playing. And so I had softball scholarships and all that. But I remember when they transitioned from softball from slow pitch to fast pitch. And when they did that, I was like, I'm out of here.
But I had
uh,
enough. Okay, I'm good. I'm good.
Man,
I'm good. Yeah.
yeah, I was like, yeah, I'm going to sit this one out. I'm gonna let you have it. You know, the younger girls have been already training and doing that since they were in the sixth, seventh, eighth grade, and I,
Whole
I
different
really
level.
wasn't in the mood. Yeah, I wasn't in the mood to really try to
Hmm.
learn a new sport, and I knew each year I was going to wean off and just play basketball. So my junior and senior year, I played basketball. I played volleyball too. Had a really great time doing that. We got second in state. We were really good at St. Paul's in volleyball. But my junior and senior year, I focused on basketball, and it was just something that kind of came naturally for me as a kid, and really got good at it. And I realized it was something that I kind of wanted to be a part of all of my life. I didn't know I was going to get into coaching so soon, but I ended up, tearing my ACLs in college, both of them. So
Mm.
when that got shot down, and the dreams of going overseas and all that was no more, I really just decided to kind of lock in on coaching and it being a passion for me. So it was truly a calling, and I'm excited about it. But it definitely started with the love of the game.
And definitely with that love because you have had your name and jersey hung up at several places. So
Yeah.
definitely a love for that, that you have
Yes.
really made a mark for the person and the
Yes.
character of who you are. And I
Yes.
love
Thank
you
you.
said the love of the game. You're welcome is because a lot of young athletes don't understand that how you carry yourself and how you put yourself out there. People watch that and they take note, especially coaches. You spoke about team. That was something that you love and you admire. So as a coach yourself, you're looking at that when young ladies are coming in. Like, how do you guys connect as a team, especially when adversity and things happen? Because you said both ACLs, so tearing
Yeah.
both of those, how
Yeah.
was it to continue to push and still look as I'm a part of something and I'm worthy? Where we know a lot of young ladies, have injury and they're like, I'm done, I can't do anything, but you're walking testimony. So just giving some
Yeah.
information about how you got through that.
Well, it was huge mentally for me. I definitely had to find some mental fortitude going through that. And coming in my freshman year, I was a six man off the bench. I had an excellent freshman season on the Division 1 level, and I really feel like we had a great senior class in front of us, and I would have been in the position really to possibly start the next year. But I tore my first knee up. I'll never forget. We were in practice going over our press breaker, and I planted my foot, cutting off the baseline, and my foot stopped, but my knee kept going. And
Oh,
that year, we had a lot of my teammates had tore theirs. So unfortunately, I kind of knew what it was. Super, super heartbreaking. Um, and was able to kind of bounce back from that. But I didn't come back full circle because the rehab was grueling. It's not like it is now where you can get back in what, probably 3 or 4 months tops.
and right
Back
back
then
at
it
it,
was at
right?
least six to eight, to where you could
Hmm.
get fully, and then you're never really going to be fully back unless you got kind of some top tier training on you.
Mhm.
But back
Right.
then, this was talking about, I don't know, I did this probably almost, ooh, I hate to say that. That's almost 20 years ago.
Oh wow. So you guys definitely know it's different now.
Yeah, the technology and
Uh,
everything. So it was a
but it
different
makes it
world.
even more dynamic though, because of what was going on back then, and you still
Yes.
pushing forward.
Yes. And now, honestly, going through that with my ACL, so I did that my sophomore year and then came back, was finally ready to go my junior year. And then my senior year, I tore my other one
Oh
because it's
wow.
a really high percentage chance that you will tear one. I hate to give
Yeah,
that
the other.
percentage, but it's really high.
Mhm.
If you tear one, you're gonna tear the other. And it's more of for me. I didn't understand why I was going through it at the time because it took me away from the game, but I knew it was going to be, all things were going to work together for the good. And it
Right.
did. It pushed me into coaching super early. I became a grad assistant immediately for Coach Jackson. I was
I
22,
love
23
it.
years
I
old.
love it. I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
she
I love
immediately
it.
put me
That's the
on,
work.
and I was still around the game, still able to help. And then, honestly, that year that I was in grad school, she needed a shooter because some girls had got injured. Going into the tournament, she needed a shooter. I never forget. She called me in. She was like, "Hey, Adria, these teams have been preparing for you, and you're not even on the roster. And I'm thinking we're gonna need you to come back for the tournament."
Wow.
And I went back, coach. I got back right within about 2 or 3 weeks, and she brought me in for the tournament. And we lost in the championship game, but I was super intricate to what we were doing. So that was a really cool moment for me too to be able to come back, kind of like out of retirement, if per se.
Right.
And I
And
played
you
this
definitely
the
did.
last I played the last semester, a ball. It was really really cool. So, but I the mental toughness that and what I was able to learn from that situation was amazing. And so when I meet kids that have injuries and stuff like that, the first thing I tell them is, "Hey, I tore both my ACLs. Like, you can really get through this. You're gonna be fine. You just have to make up in your mind that you're gonna push through it and not let that be something that bogs you down as far as reaching your greatness. It's just a hurdle you got to jump over and keep on going."
And you definitely did that. You did that well for the fact that you was able to come back and you played in the game.
I
And it
did.
was
I
that
did.
commitment that I think a lot of younger athletes are not fully committed nowadays.
Yeah.
So the commitment that in spite of when her name was called, she was ready.
I was ready for sure.
And you gotta stay ready when your name is called. And being that you're on that collegiate level, you've been coaching for a while. I know a lot of young girls. Cause again, I love what you said. You was 6 men. A lot of these young athletes are coming in and saying, "Hey, I was a starter at my school. I was doing all this," and their mindset is, "I'm gonna go to college and I'm gonna jump right in there, and you have to start." So, what are some of the just words of giving them to prepare now, this senior year or in the summer, to be prepared to go to college? Because I know me personally, when I went off to school, because I played collegiate ball, it was an eye opener. I was a star at school, but when I came to college, I was like eight, nine, 10th person. So, on that of just giving them words to prepare them that it may not be that ride you had in high school, but what are some things that they can work on and do to get to that level for you to be like, okay, let me pull you up.
Yeah, well, the reality of it is if you don't deposit anything, you're not going to be able to withdraw anything.
Mm,
I mean, that's how banks work. You can't just go to the bank and be like, "Hey, let me get $1 million." No, you don't have it. You haven't put anything into it. So I always
right.
use that analogy with my girls about putting in the deposits and putting in the work.
Mm,
And you can't think that all of a sudden your senior year, you know, you're going to be at the last minute trying to scramble, trying to get somewhere and do all that. And that you waited to the last minute to do that. Even if you do get on a team, the girls that have been putting in the work years before you, they're going to be in
they
front of
already
you.
there.
It's a
Right.
no brainer to a coach. It's a no
Right.
brainer. It's a no brainer. I'm going to
Right.
know who's
That
dedicated,
work.
who's committed. I'm going to be able to see it right away. And one of the other things I would tell them to really work on is their balance. Balancing your time management, and the commitment it's going to take for you to be dedicated to basketball, but also dedicated to your academics. And
I love
honestly,
it.
the academics is going to come before basketball. That's why it's called a student athlete. So yeah, they
Yeah.
they they are they are
Yeah, I
married.
get it. Like I'm
Yeah,
getting so excited here because you don't hear many, coaches come in and just put it that plain. And I'm
right.
very big, and I'm sorry, coach, for cutting you off, for just
No,
saying,
fine.
she said, the academics, we forget that because as
Yeah,
athletes, we are more than just an athlete. You are a student first
yeah, yeah.
because just as you mentioned, you guys got to think. She said she tore both her ACLs,
Mhm.
but she still continued to go, finished up with degrees, and I'm saying
Yeah.
degrees because you're still working on one that you're
Yes,
about to
working on
finish
my
up.
doctorate. Yeah, I'm working on my
It,
doctorate. I'm in my dissertation now. I'm really excited about that, man. I gotta buckle down and get it done. Getting the job at Bishop, I kind of took a break because
mhm,
the level of focus it's going to take for me to write a dissertation
definitely.
is going to be very very much so top tier. But I'm excited about it, and I am in the process of finishing that up.
Wow.
Yeah,
So all of this going on with your coaching, and so you hear her being so profound of athletes of why the determination of not only just sports but being a student. So in the balancing, because you guys really don't understand. When you go to college, you're no longer up under mama house. You're
right.
actually at school.
Yes.
So just, continuing on that, what are some things that I guess you guys do there at Bishop, or you guys instill in your players when it comes to
Well, I'm very big on that because that was something I had to learn as a coach.
balance?
Um, as a student athlete, really on the Division 1 level, for you to be successful, if you don't have time management or balance, you're not going to make it. I'm just going to be completely honest with you, coming into it, because if you don't have the time management, you're not going to go to class and all that. You're going to be ineligible. So time management is something that is super important. But as a coach, I had to reiterate a lot of those things to myself because at the Division 1 level, I was ripping and running and recruiting and this and that. At the time, I was the youngest on the staff, and so I know I was very vital to what they were trying to do, even just from, you know, being a liaison to my former teammates. Really, that's
Right.
what it was.
Yep.
I was right there with them, so I was that liaison as far as the generational wise technology and things like that. So a lot of it was me just really being having a yearning as well and being passionate and young, and so I really really almost burnt out in a sense.
Mm,
And that was why it was time for me to take a transition over to Carver. And at Carver, I was really able to get the balance that I needed. And I believe in mental health days, coach. I believe
yep.
in
I
taking
love it.
time when, hey, I have a kid, girl come into practice, I'm going to know when something is off with them. Hey, what's going on with you?
I
How are you
love
feeling
it.
today? Because if your
Yeah.
mental health is not on, you're going to be no
It's
good
gonna
to
be
me. I'm about to get on your nerves, as a coach, because you're going to think I'm irritated. You know what I'm saying? So why don't you just go home, take you a day, and come back? Like I always tell my team, basketball is gonna be here. And number one, this is just a vehicle for me. This is my calling. This is my purpose. Basketball is gonna always take care of itself. All right. It's not about no wins and losses and all of that. If I do things the right way as a coach, good things are gonna always happen for me. So it's
mm,
not the X's and O's for me. It's really about teaching them how to grow as a young female and to become something great in life, not just on the court. That's like number one. I always say it's bigger than basketball, but like I really, really do mean that. Me seeing them be able to get degrees or, go on, get married, have a family, or go on to get, all kind of different accolades. That means more to me than any
than
championship could ever.
anything. And a lot of parents and people don't understand that is just a whole nother form of love in life. And I'm glad you saying that because that takes me back to this right here. Like if you guys see this, I love this because it's just not only them looking at you, but you looking up, and it's just showing like the
Yes, those are my
amazing love,
babies.
the
Those are
love
definitely my
that's had.
babies.
So that
Those are
was
my
definitely
babies.
the thing.
And I really love being able to give them different life experiences
Yeah.
too.
And,
So
I love it. Like
yeah,
you
when
said,
we do stuff
different
like
life.
that, and it is really all of their personalities. I've never really like looked at that picture in depth like that, but that's one of my favorites. It really is. It really was one of my favorites.
Like when I looked at it as a former coach too, it was just that connection. And it's
Yeah,
also going to the individuals that are looking to colleges to go to. In no form or fashion, I'm affiliated or anything. I must say with Shelton. All bills should stay for anybody because I know I've had different coaches come up here and people think I'm affiliated. I'm not affiliated with anything of that nature. I'm affiliated with making sure young women are in a respectful place and they're
right.
reaching their highest level. So when you hear coaches come up here and they're talking their inspiration, it's so much more because, as you said, it's way bigger than basketball.
Way
Life goes
bigger.
on out that, and the feeling that you have, parents, when you have a coach that really cares about your children and take them on as your children when you're not around, that picture shows it all. It shows the admiration of the kids. It shows the
Thank you.
admiration of who she is as a person and her character, and just her standard of talking is so much more of that. You know, so many coaches want to be affiliated with wings. She got wings. She's already did it. Her chapter
Hey, and
already.
coach, like I tell them, I didn't won a lot and I didn't lost a lot. Like that's a part of it. That's a part of the process, and you just have to trust it. As far as your elevation, you have to trust it. You have to
Mm-hmm.
trust it, and I do. I know where I'm supposed to be. I am not trying to prove nothing to nobody. I and a lot of people probably look at me and think I think that I'm all that and this and that. It's not really that. I just know who I am. I know what my purpose is in life and I know where I'm going. I know what God got for me. You know, he's told me. So when I'm in a place like that of comfort,
You
in my
walking.
purpose like that, yeah, like I'm good.
Like,
Like I'm
and that's
good.
that growth season that a lot of people don't understand. I can walk how I want to walk because I know whose I am and what I am.
And
So
what
I'll
I
have
am.
no problem with it. You know, you and sometimes what happened, coach, a lot of people are so intimidated because they don't have that power or they
Yeah.
don't have the courage or the confidence to walk in their way. So what you may see as me just being grateful because of favor of the stuff I've been through, you seeing it as arrogance. But you may need to check and see that you ain't been through some of the storms I've been through to understand that I walk with my head up high because there was times I wouldn't even hear.
And it's
Come on.
the other thing is like you said, number one, people don't know what I done did to get here. Like, you know, y'all, everybody sees social media and this and that, and it's been some long nights. You know,
Mm,
I was talking to Coach Dudley Bree. You just had her on here, my best friend at Parker,
yes.
and we were talking the other day, and I heard her reference this as well about it's so much stuff that we have to do as coaches that nobody knows.
Mm,
Nobody knows. Like so much stuff I have to go over and beyond. And honestly, it's some things that people wouldn't even be in this position think about doing. But I do it
mm-hmm.
automatically because for me, it's about the kid.
Yes.
This ain't
Yes.
about me. This ain't about championships, trophies, or none of that. It's literally about my players and their well
Mm-hmm.
being. I can't
And
even
when you
tell you
have
how
that
much I
passion,
love on them and tell how much I love them and all of that because they need that.
yes.
You know, they need that. And if they see that from me, it's going to exude through them to somebody else. You know, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what we're here for. That's why God put us here. And I
That's
run a
it.
very faith-based program. You know, I make sure God is all up and through what we're doing all day, every day. You know, because I know without him, I'm absolutely nothing. And I
Mm-hmm.
have to make sure my players know that so they don't get beyond themselves. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? It all starts with the leadership. And I just have to make sure I'm doing things the right way. I mean, it's vital. It's really vital.
I love it. And I love, like you said, to start with the leadership because that also, we're not only talking to the players, we're talking to coaches too, and some of the coaches that you guys may be struggling, you know, with your team, you just came in and trying to see what's going on. And like you said, to start with the leadership. It's where sometimes you have to check yourself. And I always talk about
Yes.
self care, as you said, self care. Sometimes as coaches, we have to pull back and say self care and just say, am I ready for this at this time? Or what is that I need to do to better myself? Because if you're not fully well, it's gonna pour down into the team. And guess what? When you're talking about young adults and kids, they see through. They the first ones to see through. They'll run through a brick wall for you, or they'll tell everything on you. So it's either or. You got to be ready for that. But you have to take time for you to have that self care. That's all the way to your staff. You have to make sure that they are aware too of what you're trying to do and the angles y'all are going. Like you said, hey, faith based. And I'm sure everybody on the staff knows. There's no question about
Everybody.
it.
Okay.
So when you have everybody connected as a family, it's nothing else to be talked about. That is the mindset that they have. And it's so crucial to have a team mindset and kind of just elaborate on that of why is it needed to have a team mindset to be successful since you've already succeeded in several things.
Well, you're not going to be you're not going to be successful if all of the parts aren't connecting correctly.
Hmm.
And running a team is it's a joy for me because I really love to get to know the players, and I'm getting to know them in the recruiting process. So it starts a year or two before they even get to me.
Wow.
I'm finding out, who they are, what type of character they have. We're checking social media. Hey, what are they saying? How do they carry themselves? And all of those things are a direct reflection of who you are.
Hmm.
I tell my players all the time when it comes to the social media and stuff, hey, take that down. You can't do
Right.
stuff like that because it's not just your name on the back of your jersey, like it's Bishop State. It's the
Hmm. Hmm.
Wildcats. Like you can't just do what you want to do anymore. You're not a normal, student walking around here. You're a student athlete.
Right.
Because time you get into some trouble, hello, Ja Morant, you're gonna be all over everywhere,
And
you
not
know?
your name. It's gonna say that basketball player from Bishop
And
State
it's
first
gonna
Wildcat.
you hear
They're
me?
not gonna
And,
even know your name.
and so it's very important to teach them how to buy in, but buy in together. Because some kids, I've had kids, and I've had to teach them how to reverse this. They'll buy in, but they don't care about what nobody else doing.
Hmm.
They just doing what they supposed to do, being a bucket, whatever, whatever. Ain't making nobody around them better. All they care about is tunnel vision, what they gonna do. I don't allow
Right.
my kids to do that. Okay?
I know.
Because what are you being really, really great doing for the next person? You're not gonna help them along the way.
You
You know what I'm
can't
saying?
win
It's
by
not just about scoring. You know what I mean? You want to go out, get out there and score. How about you make an assist or get a rebound? You know what I'm saying? So
something else.
like teaching, do something else, teaching them like the team aspect and being
Hmm.
able to have a collaborative effort at something. That's all life is.
Yeah.
Communication, relationships. Like you're gonna always have to work with somebody to get somewhere in life. If not,
Hmm.
you're probably gonna be out there by yourself. That's why it's a lot of homeless people. You know what I'm saying? God bless them, but it is. They're not
Right. Right.
willing to humble themselves and go do what they need to do to connect with somebody that can help them get along the way. And that's why they
Right.
find themselves in those situations. You know what I'm saying? And I know
Yeah.
some of it is not by choice, but I'm saying it's a lot of other things you can do when you work together. And so
When you
working
work.
together as a team is vital in life. Forget
Hmm.
basketball. You know
Right.
what I mean? Just
Networking, just
life,
coming together. You have to have
man.
that. You have to be. You can't. As they say, you can't do life alone.
You
You
cannot.
go
And I
farther when you
believe
get
in
together with people.
I really believe in divine connections.
Mhm.
And I really, really pray really heavily when I'm in the recruiting process and even the kids I bring in, like that is very intentional on my part. Very intentional. I mean, I have some kids that, I really, really wanted when they came out of high school. I didn't understand at the time why they get a chance to get them. And now
But
all
you
of that
see now,
coming right back. Yeah, all of it's coming right back.
that's why
They're
we
coming
didn't get that kid.
because it
Like,
wasn't time. I
yeah.
literally told the kid that today. It just wasn't time.
Hmm.
Now it's time. Let's embrace it. Whatever happened before, don't feel like that makes you a failure or anything like that. God's pace is perfect. And we have to trust that. So I'm
Yeah.
I'm very big on connections and teamwork and all of that. Like I'm probably the biggest team player you'll ever see. And I know that from a coaching standpoint, even on my staff and working with others around me. Like I be trying to help everybody, put everybody on. If I
And that's
can,
the thing.
somebody
You
help
have
me.
to make you have to make everybody better. It's no way to be a leader without helping everyone else.
Yeah,
Because leadership is about pouring back into people. Some people see leadership and just say you at the top, but you cannot be a great leader if you're not preparing other people to be the best. Like everything you should do, you should be preparing somebody else to take on that next job of it. So, and I love what you said too of just that team part and understand they can't do it alone. If you're going to be a leader of the team, that means you got to pick everybody up. But that goes back to some of you guys, high school coaches. We got to get out of it, especially our female coaches. We want star players. Star players don't do good when it comes to college because that star player that you guys allowed to score 30 and 40 points and then pass the ball, now they going to college and now they are overwhelmed and now they have real mental health issues because you got a coach like Coach Harris. It's like ain't finna happen, and they don't understand because we were so focused on winning than embracing and building the young kid. And that's one of the biggest things that frustrates me where and a lot of people that knows when they're gonna see this. I got out of coaching in Birmingham City School was a big part of that. My focus was so big and beyond the winning. It was about making an impact and building some young ladies that are gonna be some leaders. Because honestly, you got a 1 to 2% in your community that are gonna actually go to the league. So
Yeah,
I want to build you now.
yeah, and I'm gonna just be honest, and I say this all the time. It is a lot of people that are coaching that just shouldn't be coaching,
Yes.
and I say that because they're coaching for the wrong reasons. And
Mhm.
if you're not in this for the kids in the long run, it becomes blatantly obvious. you know,
Everybody
when
can get.
yeah, it becomes blatantly obvious. And honestly, a lot about a coach will tell you how they former players are with them now. That speaks directly to your character as a coach. Do you have
Mhm.
relationships with your former players? Not necessarily like calling them all the time or keeping up with them. How are they when they come and see you? Do they come and see you? you know what I
They
mean?
even
Do they
talk to
reach
you.
out to you? Do they
Yes,
ask you to be a reference or whatever the case may be? How are you impacting them outside of when they played for you, however many years ago it was?
definitely.
That's so important to me because
Mhm.
somebody was that for me. You know what I'm saying? Like that's so important to me. And it just has to be bigger than wins and losses and trophies and getting star players and recruiting and all of it. It gotta be more than that. You gotta be trying to impact lives and make a difference. That's all I'm trying to do. That's it.
Impact lives and make a difference. Y'all heard her. And
That's
her,
it.
her words and speak for herself and also her accolades behind. She won't hype it up, but I'm all about empowering and uplifting women. And I'm going to do it because it definitely reflects being able to take the time and just speak with you and hear your words. It's just so encouraging. I'm just so thankful to meet another amazing woman in the coaching field that is just doing amazing with the
Well,
youth.
thank you.
Like
Thank you.
I'm just excited for the connection. Like you said, it's divine. I tell everybody to step on this stage that hey, they ain't going nowhere. I'm gonna stay
Yeah,
connected to them in some form of
we
fashion.
locked
And
in. right.
yes, no doubt, we are definitely locked in. And so going into that locked in, I guess we can start ended up saying what are some areas you see that basketball, especially in collegiate for women, needs to be shaped up or areas that can be better.
Well, things are really different now in the recruiting world because of the portal and even the COVID year. We're still kind of a little bit affected by the kids they have the COVID year. And the portal is I think it's great in some senses because a lot of kids that went D1 early or whatever the case may be, D2 or whatever, they shouldn't have taken that route. Some of them probably shouldn't have went Power 5, you know, but once again, a lot of the people around them weren't really like guiding them in that sense. So for me, it would be more of hyping these kids up before they're really ready. Um, and not really giving them the truth about it. More worried about, oh well, this big school offered me or whatever the case may be, or I want this big offer and this and that. When really it's really about you getting somewhere. The coach needs to really, really be able to get along with you and love you, and it needs to be about you going to be able to play. You know, the school environment that needs to be right. You don't need to be going somewhere because of the name,
Definitely.
or because of the hype or whatever the case may be. We are really putting a lot of kids in situations that they're not prepared for. AAU, you know, it can be a really, really great thing when you're in a really great organization and they understand the levels to it, right?
Mhm.
They understand that. They're not caught up in how many offers I can get this kid and this and that. Like it's levels to that. And there's so many girls hop in that portal because they had no business being there in the first place. You know, it was too
Not at
big
all.
at the time. It was too big at the time. It's okay for you to go to a HBCU. They D1 too. You know, and you probably
And
gonna hit
learn
the
your
floor
way
a little
up.
earlier.
Right.
Yeah,
And
and
learn
you probably
the
gonna hit the
training.
floor a little earlier. So it's really about, for me, really making sure, from the leadership standpoint, that coaches, we have to be responsible about putting these kids in the right positions
Mhm.
when they leave us, making sure they're okay, and going to the right types of programs when they leave us, and also educating the parents. A lot of the parents, some of the parents don't even understand the difference in all of the 4 years, you know, the
Mhm.
4 year
Mhm.
schools, you know, they're division twos, threes, NAIA. It's a lot of levels to this, you know. So just because you're going to a 4 year, you need to make sure it's the right type of 4 year. You know, it
Right.
may be a situation where you may be have D1 talent, you going to a division two or division three doesn't make sense when you can go JUCO for a year or two and get to that level and get those other offers that you want after you develop enough. You know, it's
Mhm.
just so many little tidbits that we just have to, I would say overall, is educating the players and the parents about to transition over into the next level. I
Right.
think we're really missing that. I think the high school coaches is a gap between high school coaches and college coaches making those types of connections. I think that's a gap because AAU, you know, of course, those coaches going to see the college coaches more coming out to their games, but there's still
Mhm.
a bridge that needs to
Definitely.
be yeah, it needs to be put out between high school coaches and college coaches and the communication level and all of that. I kind of already had a foot in the door with that because I was a former college coach, but I saw other coaches didn't have those types of opportunities.
Mhm.
So all of those little things, but really the education of helping these kids get to the next level the right way.
No, I love it. That was like so detailed. And so not only with the parents and the high school coaches and bridging that gap to be able to understand and communicate,
Yes.
and it goes to, the athletic directors in the school system too of making sure you have the right coaches in front of your youth so they can transition to that next level.
Right, right.
ASU, I did laugh about that last week. Oh my God. And I was able to do it because myself too. Meaning, I coach AAU for years, had some of the best kids. Like you said, Coach Free coached some of her kids growing up and going into it. So me and her had conversations about it. So AAU have taken a whole different direction of what it used to be. As when we was growing up, it was really talent, and you're playing best of the best, and you want to get better. A lot of it now is who can put the best, strongest team together. Even if I don't know how to coach,
Or the
I put
best
on.
mixtape.
Yes, and also my best pictures of me holding trophies, not the kids, but myself holding the trophies. All this other stuff, that wants to be. And also the parents now too. The parents, they like to be in the pictures and everything to say we won. So everything has uniquely changed where I tell a lot of my kids that even though I don't coach, come back to me and their parents say, "Hey, Coach Pear, can they shoot a layup? Can they dribble? Can they get breakthrough or press break? No, because they did good this year. Well, maybe AU ain't for them. Maybe they need to do some training. There's some more stuff that they need to work on. Put them in some of these college campuses and let them actually do training camp instead of having your homeboy that also know you coach and you just send them to go play AU. Parents, we got to get better with that. Like, if we want to see our kids to the next level, we got to understand the next level means next level training, not just
Right.
next level traveling.
Hmm.
On it. So it's so much more with that. So I'm so glad you put that out there in the communication. That is definitely one of the main pillars that what I'm doing in building this platform is to help build that gap and get more of
Absolutely.
female coaches together to be able to speak and talk and be in rooms together to understand. Like, these are the things that your baby needs to be prepared for on it. And behold, that I also went to a JUCO, and a lot of parents look down on it. But if you listen to this and hear the stern voice of what Coach Harris is bringing, this is just that level. They're going to be prepared for that top notch when the coaches come. She's bringing that discipline. As you said, some kids need that first. Because some kids, you guys leave college, high school with a big head, so you got to be broken down.
Yeah, and the reality of being able to go in as a freshman, especially at Power Fives, and playing right away, unless you're like, I mean, dropping 40 a game, it's very rare that freshmen get on the floor like that. Like very, very rare. And it happens, but they need to be prepared for you're not going to be the best player on the floor anymore. Like that's the reality of it. Honestly, just to put it plain, you're not going to be the best anymore. Somebody's going to be older than you, more experienced. That makes them better than you already, right?
Focus.
Don't let them be able to play a little bit and got some skill. You know what I'm saying? So now you're back behind the eight ball. So it's a mindset that they need going into that. And I think from a mental standpoint, that's why so many kids hop in that portal, because it's about playing time to them instead of them waiting, you know,
Let me
their
prepare myself.
turn.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, waiting till they develop and waiting till you're ready. Because the majority of coaches probably they're gonna know in practice.
Right.
I tell my players before they come to me, you're gonna get every opportunity to play. And once you get out there and be doing all kind of stuff that don't go along with what we trying to do, you gonna know why you ain't on the floor. It's not rocket
And
science. You're not
you
ready.
also, right, right.
Yeah, you're not ready. So
Yeah.
it has to be um definitely a mindset for these kids to be ready, like
Mm-hmm.
when their name is called. But it's okay if your name is not called right away. It's okay. It's
Yeah.
okay. Just be ready. Just be ready.
And going into that, like you said, mindset, is that something that you focus highly on? I know you said mental health days, but making sure the kids understand it, because I know that's something that has been a little shy within the community of sports, especially myself getting to schools, being a sports mental health coach. That a lot of coaches shy away from that and like, yeah, we're going to do it. Would you say as a coach, are they just not educated about it, or someone just don't want to take that discipline? What may be some of the factors that they are not open to allowing that as much within their schools or teams?
Well, one thing I love about, well, any position that I've had, um, my bosses have really allowed me to run my program, you know, how I see
I love
fit.
that.
As long as they're able to see the good results from it and all of that. But going into it, I'm very big on mental toughness. It's probably one of the biggest pillars in my program, to be
I
honest
love
with
it.
you. And it's more about me. I had to understand this though as a coach. I had to stop expecting me from them, right? When
Mm,
I was in the position at Alabama State, I'll never forget when I realized I wanted it more than my players. It put me at a level of frustration to where it made me almost upset because I couldn't make them have my heart, my guts. You know what I'm saying? And I had to realize as a coach at a young age, coaching young, that I cannot teach those intangible things. I can
mm,
teach you skill. I can't give you guts and heart and a willpower and all of that. That got to
right.
be in you. I cannot make you do those things. I can show you how to shoot. I can do all that. Okay. But giving you the willpower to do those things and to get better and to put in the work, I can't give you though. I can't give you that. And I had to realize that. And for me, I'm big on that because the most I talk about mental toughness, I call them powwows when I get my team together in the middle of the court. It's time for
And
another powwow. Okay, let's sit
mhm,
down. Let's talk about it. And I'm very, very, very transparent with them.
I
I
love
have
that.
I have realized I'm very transparent in life, but I'm very transparent with my players. Even when some of my players aren't in practice, I don't ever say anything that I can't repeat myself and say it again. Right?
Come on.
I just practice that in life. But really within my team, because I want you to know I don't want somebody lying to you. We had a pickup last night and just open gym. And one of my girls did something, and it wasn't like a basketball savvy thing or whatever. And so she said something like, "Oh, coach, I was just playing." No, you weren't playing. How about you get down and try to do it for real or something? I said something like that and called her out on it. And all of the
Mhm.
other players was like, dang. I said, that's y'all problem. Somebody been lying to y'all. Instead of really telling you what you need to work on, how to get
Come on,
better,
coach.
worrying about embarrass you. I ain't they think I be trying to embarrass. I don't care about embarrassing you. I'm trying to help you in life. I would be doing you an injustice if I didn't tell you the truth. Coach Harris ain't
Yeah.
gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna
Mhm.
lie to you. Then I wouldn't be doing my job. So
Right.
the mental health part, I'm big on that.
I
I
love
talk
it.
about it so much they probably get on their nerves about it because I always
Hey,
tell them it's about a mindset. Everything begins with a thought.
everything, every
Everything
single
begins with a
other
thought.
thought.
It's about your mindset. So I always try to work with them on that. And it's so important. But being in the positions that I've had, I really had great bosses and they have allowed me to run my program. So I haven't run into the issue about not being able to implement that. But honestly, I think that should be a pillar in everybody program, to be honest.
Thank you, coach.
If you
I, I,
really are here
I love
truly coaching, being a true coach, you should be teaching them those things for sure.
yeah, I love it because everything starts with the mindset, like you said. And you guys got to understand, coach ain't on here just, I'm going to say coaching. Because this is a part of coaching. She ain't on here just coaching. She, again, has the accolades. You are also an owner of a semi pro team, too, right, coach?
Yes, I own a, semi-pro women's basketball team, uh, the Lady Magic, Montgomery Lady Magic, and it was something I kind of ventured into some years ago, and I'm so happy I did it because at the end of the day, I just be trying to not only build a platform for the girls, but also just always help and elevate them, you know. And I saw the semi-pro platform as a place that I could pretty much invest in my vision and help these girls get to where they need to be. And I had about probably six of them or seven of them overseas
Wow.
this past year. Yeah, so it's really been a blessing. I actually just text
Congratulations.
them today. I got two girls over in Africa right now. I know Shakayla Thomas. She is played at Florida State. I think Shakayla was over in France playing.
Oh, wow.
Got girls all over that have been a part of the Lady Magic for a couple of years and being able to help them to get that and they get their agents and get out there and have those opportunities, man, it's been awesome. So we're getting ready to start back. I've kind of moved to a league in Atlanta, and we're in the AEBL, um, and it's the
Okay.
Atlanta Entertainment Basketball League, and it's been great for the women's side. So this is going into our second year with them, and I'm super excited about it. I have a head coach, Coach Aisha. Shout out to her. She coaches at St. Francis in Atlanta, and her scheduling this summer is going to be a little tied up. So I'm probably going to be doing a lot more head coaching than I had anticipated. But being the GM and being a head associate head has been amazing. So I'm excited about it. I'm gonna make sure I get you a schedule and stuff too. So if you
Oh,
down that
most
way,
definitely.
you
I'm
would
definitely
love.
gonna
I would
do
love to connect you
anything.
with them and what they do.
Yeah.
But a lot of college players come and play in it and all of that. It's a great thing. So owning that team has been amazing for me. It's my little baby, my
And
little
yeah, she got
business.
several babies. She got several babies, but I had to
Yeah,
bring it out. Like I
yeah,
said, I'm
cool.
I'm one of those ones, you know, I'd like to actually research and make sure when I'm bringing people on that they're bringing games, they're educating, and their work speaks for themselves. So her work
Right,
speaks for herself. So for my young athletes, as you're, looking at this and you're thinking about, okay, what school or what coach I want, this is the epitome of what kind of coach you want. This is someone that
thank
you
you.
want that you know that's going to elevate you to that next level and make sure you get to that next level, no matter what. She have so many different levels that you can go to, but also she's been there. It's nothing like a coach that have actually played the sport, and that's one thing too. A lot of you coaches, yes, y'all have a passion, nothing wrong, but it's a difference when you played that sport and you've been through that storm to be able to transfer a kid to that next level.
Right,
So I definitely want you guys to just hone in on it, watch the games, get in tune with it, get you some college visits, hey, heck, if you just be like, hey, I don't even know where to start, but I want to DM me, send me a message to inbox. I would definitely get you guys connected with her just to talk to her to just get that
Yeah,
word of wisdom on it because it is definitely needed. I'm just so excited to see more come out you this year and everything that you got going on. Definitely
super
want to make
excited.
sure of that. And I know you guys got a lot going on too and kind of heavy. So I'm going to put that up there so you guys can kind of
Okay.
see for my girls that are coming up. So,
Yes.
coach, you guys are locked and ready for the upcoming camp.
Yeah, so we have team camp on June 10th and 11th. I got teams coming from Florida, possibly some coming from Mississippi, a lot of the local schools here in Mobile, and we're going to be playing. They're each going to get 4 games, 2 games a day on June 10th and 11th at Bishop State. It's going to be a blast. I had a great team camp last year, had a great turnout. And then our youth camp is boys and girls on June the 17th, which is also in a couple of weeks. And that's going to be awesome. I did my first youth camp last year, and we had a blast. That was really, really awesome as well. My elite camp, I'm going to do another session of that. I'm actually going to change that date. We're going to change that to August the 5th. So that'll be right
Okay.
before they start school and all of that. So I'm going to get that out as well. But we can be found on Eventbrite if they want to sign up and go and register and everything. We would love to have them out. And the fee to get in just to watch the games for the teen camp play date will be $10 a day for adults and $5 for students.
See, and she making it reasonable too. So you don't have
Yeah,
no excuses.
yeah,
I have no excuses to be able to
yeah.
come
Oh,
in. I love it. You know,
yeah,
everything is there, you guys. Y'all also will see that trending and going throughout Talking First Doors, as well as my IG1, Coach Paris, because it's only one me. So you would definitely see that, guys, too, running through there. So any questions on it, please don't hesitate to make sure. But before we get off, Coach, I told you I do my research.
okay.
The game.
Oh
You
Lord.
won LeBron. Talk about it. How you feeling, Coach? I'm a big Bron lover too. So, like you know, I do
Uh
my research.
my boy Brun had to go out. I've been a fan of Brun for 20 years, and so really whatever team he goes to, I go to. A lot of people don't know I was a huge Laker hater before he got over there. But I have a lot of respect for LeBron.
Hmm.
For how he plays the game. Like I said, I'm big on team, and LeBron is a catalyst for getting other people involved and playing the game the right way. And I just love that about him. I mean, even though he was a they lost and failed the other night and got swept and everything, they were still right there every game. But I mean, LeBron nearly had a 40-point triple double. You know,
Come on,
like
man. This
so
man,
I can be selfish in a lot of ways because long as Braun be having a good game, I be good. You know, whether we win or
right?
lose, because I didn't see him win or lose a lot. You know, I ain't just hop on this train. But I mean, he's just magnificent. He's my goat now. He passed Jordan a couple of months ago for me. So
Let's go.
yeah, he's my goat now, and I don't know if he's gonna retire. I know that's big news or whatever, but I'm just grateful I've been able to
Ain't
see him
no
play
return.
live a couple of
Ain't
times. I've been
no
to some
return.
games. Yeah, I've been to some games and seen him play live, and I'm just happy that I was able to witness it. You know, in
Hmm.
person. He's a excellent player. Really, really the greatest of all time, in my personal opinion, for sure.
I love it. And Coach Modest about it too. How she talks about you. Like, look, I love it. The same here. Love LeBron. You know, most importantly, I love what he do outside of the court.
Me too.
And a lot of players can't speak about that or show that, but this man is building a dynasty for the youth to be able to come up behind him and do some great things. And that
Right.
again speaks about the character that sports is your outlet, but what are you gonna do when you get that vehicle? And he's definitely
Yes.
showing that vehicle. You haven't seen this man, him or his wife name anything of that
Yeah.
nature. So,
Legacy.
you know,
Legacy.
yes, let's when you get the haters and y'all talk, you can talk about the game, but you can't take the game away from the man. That man has
Yeah.
built something he's gonna continue to build, and y'all name still gonna be in his mouth, and it gonna taste real nasty while he in
Yeah.
the league. So, period. Like that's what it is. My
Yeah.
no, I'm
He's
gonna meet
he's made
you,
his stamp, his mark. He could walk away right now, and he's done amazing, man. I mean, with the teams that he's taken and just true leadership. And
Hmm.
I've always been a fan. So I was okay with it. I knew Joker was Joker is a
He
Joker.
came to
Okay.
play.
Oh my God, he's just a monster anyway, though. I mean, just a true student of the
His
game. So it was
mental of the
really,
game, mental
oh
of the
man, he
game is
see the
crazy.
game 10 plays ahead.
Crazy. Like
Yeah, and he
it's a
reminds
level.
me a lot of how LeBron plays. You know, LeBron is just a lot older now, but
Hmm.
I loved it. I thought Murray played a great game. I thought Denver did great, and you know that series with them and I hope Miami wins. I like Jimmy Butler, so we'll
Yeah,
see what Tatum and them do.
I definitely think it's gonna be Miami. Butler hungry. He hungry for that thing. He wanted his mindset is on
And
a
it's
whole
time
different
for
level
him too, though. You know, in these past couple of years, he been right there, so it's
and
time for
can't
him. I
get
would like to see
good,
him win it.
but it's gonna be there. Would love to have seen LeBron instead, but we'll cheer for somebody else. You'll get somebody else, to
Yeah,
cheer
but to
for.
come
That's
down
all.
13th to be winning two series. Like, come on, man. Like, we good.
And
We
nobody
good.
expected it.
Yeah,
Right.
we good. We
Nobody
good.
expected. So yes, last word that you would like to leave the people, coach, if anything of inspiration you can leave, what would it be?
Um, I would say whatever you do in life to always be intentional. I would also say that, you know, things may not look, you know, real sunny all the time, but just believe and trust the process and know that all things work together for the good. And believe and know that if you are coaching and in this sport, to make sure it's bigger than basketball at the end of the day. Bigger than the scoreboard, bigger than the wins and losses. If you do things the right way, you know, success will follow you.
I love it. Y'all heard it. And I'm calling her a goat that she's doing some amazing things. We don't have enough queens that are out there getting so I uplift. Thank you so much, Coach Harris. I really appreciate, your
Thank you, Coach
words and
Perry.
all that you are doing within the community. But y'all know what it is. This is your girl, Coach Perry. Don't just talk about change, be a doer of change. Y'all have a good one.